Yo, this is KaeDee,
And this is David.
and we are the K&D Exchange, where we exchange music, and as a result, we exchange ideas, bridging the gap between old and new, with all original music produced by. Enjoy. Yo, welcome back to the K&D Exchange. I am your host, KaeDee, joined by my co-host, David. David, what's new with you? Obviously not your headset, but yeah.
We've been I've been trying my lovely mic that I bought years ago, but it's just not working. Like it's not good, so I'm going to buy another one. It's just not happening. But it's all right.
Man.
This will hopefully be the last
yeah.
episode that you have to hear the terrible headset.
We are anti-headset around here in these streets, so get yourself a Samsung mic. I think that's what this is called. It's been
Sweet, I'll Amazon Prime that stuff tomorrow.
Yeah, it comes with a little stand as well that you can prop up on the table, which is pretty cool. So yeah, okay, cool. To returning listeners, thank you very much for supporting us and following our journey. For new listeners, basically we're an exchange music podcast. We'll also talk about movies and other stuff sometimes, depending on how the conversation flows. But to the point, we exchange albums to each other each week, or every 2 weeks actually, and we basically give the other host an album that one of us is very familiar with, the other one is completely fresh to, and then we swap that around. So basically we bring two completely different perspectives together, one coming in fresh, one with a sense of familiarity. And so this week, David, you gave me an album to listen to. What album did you give me? Before we start that, make sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at the K&D Exchange. Go back and listen to our previous episodes as well. Have a little look through the catalog. If you see an album that's of interest to you and you want to hear our thoughts on it, go ahead, have a listen. You don't have to listen in chronological order or anything like that. We have plenty of tangents, plenty of random conversations that spark from probably from some of the weirdest points that you would expect. And we've also introduced movie podcasts as well as solo podcasts as well. So if you find anything interesting when you look back through the catalog, have a little listen and follow us on the socials. Like I said, at the K&D Exchange or KND. So, David, what album did you give me to listen to for this week?
I gave you Beneficence's album. I think it's his second or third in his discography. And it's called Basement Chemistry. And he is a decent rapper, in my opinion, who doesn't get enough limelight. So I'm out here in these streets repping him. KaeDee.
In these streets, yep.
Talk to me. What did you think?
All right. So, yeah. All right. I had never heard of this guy before. The self-professed hip-hop head that I am. Never heard of this guy. He's got a cool name, though. And I probably had heard of him, but through you mentioning him every now and then.
Yep.
But I'd never listened to his music. And second point I was going to bring up, when you say something is decent, because this is something that I have a issue with, not issue with. Okay, so what was I saying? So you said, he's a decent rapper. Now, when people use the word decent, sometimes I wonder what, I feel like the definition of that word changes. So just out of interest, since you've mentioned it and I thought of it, when you say something's decent, what do you mean?
Good point. I think that the flows that he has are really, really aurally pleasing.
Yeah.
So what I mean is you can either choose to key into what he's saying or just sort of listen to it on the back burner.
Yeah.
He's both, I think, I actually think he's a really good rhymer, actually. I think he's really, really talented. But he's got this really he's got a very sort of methodical way in which he delivers the raps,
Sure.
and it goes very, very seamlessly with the type of music, especially in this album. And he's done a couple of others. He released one last year where the raps and the rhymes were just brilliant, but it really complemented by the music. And I
Sure.
find that in certain aspects, there are some songs where I'm not too, like in the second half of the album, I'm a bit like sort of burnt out.
Mm.
However, I just feel that I think that he's really competent and that he would hold his own against most. And so that's what I mean about decent. He's
Sure.
not, I don't know if I'd class him as top tier, but he's not
Yeah.
rubbish. And I think he
Yeah.
needs ratings. So that's what I mean by decent.
Cool. Yeah. Okay. I get that. Because sometimes when I hear the word decent, I'm thinking like, what does that mean? That they're just okay? But then some people I feel like use that word to describe something they really like. So I've always had like a varying response to the word decent.
Sure.
So I feel like it's on a person by person basis.
Yeah.
So yeah, actually, funnily enough, I think I kind of agree with you on that because I was a bit up and down throughout listening to this whole thing, and I think I agree with you. He is very. When you said he was very hourly pleasing, I agree because he sounds really good. He sounds good as a rapper. He's just his vocal technique, his ability to kind of put his words together, and he's got that very strong kind of delivery, but it's not too in your face or anything like that. It sounds very effortless for him. Kind of like someone like Elzai or Royce, although those guys I would say are like top tier MCs. But they have that similar thing where it seems like there's not a wasted word. They're not cramming in too many words, even though it could sound like it. But it's just there's so much skill with their word placement that it just flows so nicely, no matter what words they're putting in there. But yeah, I felt like throughout a lot of this, I don't want to say it, there's a lot of songs that just didn't capture me, but they weren't bad. It was just very like, okay, yeah, okay. And I don't know, maybe also factoring in that the album's quite long as well. It's 19 songs, an hour and 6 minutes.
However, though,
Yeah,
the song length themselves ain't that long. And when you listen to the album, it really it goes through at a clip.
It's true. Yeah, it's true. I think I agree with you. Because they're mostly all under 4 minutes or 3 minutes. And for 19 songs, for it to only be an hour and 6 minutes, I'd almost be expecting more than that. I've heard like 14 song albums, 16 song albums, which are like an hour and a half, especially from back in the day. But yeah, I feel some of the beats on here, I wasn't really. I don't know if it's like this kind of hip hop. And I tried so hard to think through what that meant. So what I mean by that. So I feel like there's a kind of section of hip hop which is very how would I say it? It's like I get this vibe of, yo, this is that real hip hop shit, you know, and that turns me off quite a bit. So I got that vibe big time when listening to this album, where it was like, you know, I get that sentiment. It just doesn't seem to appeal to me. Like some of the beats, they're I can't. How do I explain it?
This just in, folks. Podcaster can't explain his feelings.
Yeah, right. So,
breaking news.
Yeah, I just it's just some of the beats. Like I can imagine people being like, "Oh yeah, this is a good like hip hop beat," and I'm like, "Yeah, it is." Technically, it just doesn't do anything in terms of moving me, whereas some do on here. And maybe it's the sample pick, or maybe it's just the type of instruments that you use. Sometimes I don't like those kind of hip hop beats where it's just there's just like a really big bass kind of pluck sound, and that's the main focus of the beat, and the drums are a bit more mellow. Like even with some Griselda stuff, I don't really like it when they dive too heavy into that part. It sounds a bit drab to me, and I get why, because it's meant to encapsulate that kind of grimy street level type content that they're talking about. But musically, it's not something I'm like, yeah, I want to go back and listen to that. I end up tuning out a little bit, which is funny because the intro, I love the beat on the intro, even though he's not even rapping on that.
So good, isn't it?
Yeah. Like, it's so good. Like, it's just so, it's jazzy. The drums come off nice.
It's got a very live aesthetic to it.
Yeah, I think that's how
I think that we as humans, we benefit from when we hear live sounding music.
Sure.
There's just something better about it.
Sure. Yeah.
Which is why Anderson .Paak is such a legend.
Oh,
but anyway,
Anderson .Paak is amazing.
He is unreal.
I thought, so I heard this and I was like, oh, okay, we're in for a good time. And then, it's just the next song. What is it? Easy as 1-2.
Easy as 1-2, yeah.
It's just like, it's cool.
But it's obvious, isn't it?
It's a bit too, it doesn't carry on the way I thought it would from the first one. Like, I can sit there, if someone showed me this, I can be like, this song, I could sit there and nod my head and be like, yeah, this is cool. But in the back of my head, knowing I'm probably not going to come back and listen to it again, you know?
Yeah, it's not for me, it's not the greatest song on this album. I even made a note, like, it's okay. But again, you know, it's not one that I carry on through. But I think that it's a really good example of the fact that you can listen to the beat and just the way that the way that he flows over the top of it. It is really sort of pleasing. You would think that as a rapper, you go, yeah, that's exactly what I do.
Yeah,
you know, I would make those sounds at this point. Like in the song, for example, the way that he rhymes, like even the word, like, you know, around sounds, the grounds, you know what I mean? Like the way that he does it, he's got this really cool, you know, you just kind of tune in to certain parts of the rap, even though the song itself is really obvious. It's a totally obvious tune from the beat. They're kind of like the big beat sort of.
Yeah, the crashing.
It's almost
sound.
Boom bap, but it's not. You know, the crashing cymbals exactly.
Yeah.
And then just with that aesthetic of the vocal and the piano playing. You know, it's trying to set an aesthetic of, I guess, old times maybe.
It's very
like
boom
I get
bap.
like
it's like
I get childhood vibes from him, sort of vibes like
for real
hot New Jersey times. He's not from New York, New Jersey.
Oh, is he not? Do you know where he's from?
Yeah. I found out and I was like, oh right. I always assumed he was just
Where is he from?
New York. He is from Newark.
Okay, I don't know where that is.
Yeah,
but cool. I've heard of it.
New Jersey.
Oh, okay. But yeah.
But yeah, man.
Yeah, you've described it in a good way, which is like obvious, where it's like. Which is fine, because I mean, clearly you can kind of really clearly tell his influences and his mindset through the beats that he's picked on here, and through his rapping and everything. It's cool, but he seems like I wasn't expecting this album to have come out in 2016. If you said to me this was a 90s hip hop album by some guy called Beneficence, but you know he's one of the underground guys back in the 90s. I'd be like, okay, I would have believed you. Listening to this, I wouldn't have thought.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I fully wouldn't have thought or early 2000s. I wouldn't have thought any different. This does not sound like a contemporary album. This doesn't sound like a 2016 album. It doesn't even sound like it's trying to mix the boom bap sound and make it up to date. At least I don't think so. It's just, it sounds very much kind of that era.
It's interesting that you say that, because he started off. I think he had I think he started in the early 1990s. So I think he's very much beholden. Yeah, dude. So I was checking his albums. This isn't his third or fourth. This is his sixth album.
Okay, that makes so much more sense.
So 2004, 2006, 2009, 2011, Sidewalk Signs. I knew that. I knew 2012's Concrete Soul as well, and then this album, and then also
He's got one
2021
after this,
Stellar Mind, which is, we will cover that album because
Okay.
I think it's excellent. I really do. I have to go back and listen to it, but when I listened to it last year, it was on repeat for a
Okay.
while. So
That's interesting. Okay.
I really do think that he's got a. Do you know what? No, there is another album that's missing because he released in like 2018 or 2019
Oh, okay.
from Wikipedia. I know that because I've got it. There's a song on there called "Put It Out on the Wire," and it's so different. It's so weird and different. But anyway, there's another album in there.
Okay.
But yeah, I think that's really interesting that you've picked up on that because I never even thought of it. Do you know what I mean? Like I just took it as how I received it when I listened to it back in 2016. So for you to get shades of that earlier sort of like 90s 2000s aesthetic that's really interesting because maybe on some kind of cosmic dissonance sort of level you're picking up what he's throwing out, you know, like a la Priya Ragu, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
right. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Shout to her and her brother's name or her producer's name, Jaffna. I think if I read that right. But I may have said that wrong. But shout out to Priya Ragu and her producer. They reached out to us on Instagram and they listened to our whole episode as well, which was great, and posted about it, which was a really good look. And just really down to earth people, which seems really cool. But yeah, so back to this, he reminds me of that time when in my life, I think about 2009, 2010, when I started to search for other forms of hip hop. And I remember looking up like top 10 lists of the year just to see what I used to love looking at the album covers and thinking, oh, I wonder what music is on there, especially on a really interesting album cover. And if I saw an interesting name, and I found out about Black Milk and Elzai and Sky Zoo and people like that. And he seems like the kind of guy I would have come across back then and listened to and thought, yeah, this is really cool. Back then I would have probably listened to this and thought, yeah, this is really sick. But then I probably wouldn't have seen it come through in rotation as much as Elzai did. Like I still follow Elzai to this day. As soon as he drops something, I'm there. Sky Zoo, most definitely. He's probably one of my favorites at the moment. There's probably no denying that.
One of the best of all time, I think.
Yeah, he's a definite favorite on the podcast. People like Royce, Black Milk, I still follow as well. A lot of Detroit guys, although Sky Zoo's not Detroit. But yeah, but this, and maybe it's where I am now. It's just not, this sort of thing doesn't hit me like that anymore. I think I didn't even like the song with Inspector Deck that much. I like the beginning sample because of the Wu-Tang reference. But I don't know, like, it sounds cool. Again, someone showed me this, I'd be like, oh yeah, it's Nox. I'm not going to listen to it again. Do you know what I mean?
Fair enough.
I don't
That's
know.
cool.
There's a big horns and stuff, which sound really cool. It's just, I don't know how to describe it, but it sounds very much like someone. I can see this really appeal. This is me, not me saying that I think any of this is trash, by the way. This is because in hip hop you have all these like black and white views on things. If you don't like it, suddenly it's trash. That's not the case.
Yeah. We're in the tribalism days of Twitter. That's what that is, isn't it?
All the time. And you know what else happens on Twitter as well, which is just, it's so obvious when you see it. An album will not be well received. Give it about 4 or 5 years, and you'll get people coming out the woodwork saying, you know what, I'm just going to say it, unpopular opinion, so-and-so album, probably one of the best albums I've ever heard, even though it was received poorly back in the day, right? You'll always have those people who will come up and then try and big up the poorly received album, regardless of whether it actually aged well or not in the consensus. Pretty sure you'll have people say that for, what's a bad album off the top of my head? So like Revival by Eminem. You'll have people coming out
Certified Lover Boy by Drake.
Yeah, mate, in the future, I mean, people are doing it now because people are just heavy on Drake's dick, but like people will come out and be like, Certified Lover Boy, I'm just going to say it.
Top 10 album of all time.
Yeah, or album of the year for 2021. I'm like, just stop it, man. Stop it.
Yeah. Doesn't even come close.
Like, opinions are opinions, but stop it. You can have an informed, like, it's not even an informed opinion because music is subjective. Like, it can be your top one album of the year because you listen to it all the time, sick. That's cool, man. It's good that you enjoy it. But at some point, there's probably a scale of not objectivity, but like kind of where you can start looking at other things, where you can kind of say cultural impact, lasting power, kind of the general consensus as well. I don't know, all sorts of other things as well. We're not even talking sales and stuff like that because that's not really fair on some artists are more commercially viable and shit. So that's
exactly it.
Yeah,
that's exactly
that kind of thing is not fair.
Yeah.
So if you're going to tell me, well, Drake was the most streamed artist of the year, I don't give a fuck. Like, put him in the ring.
That's not an argument.
Nah, not at all. Put him in the ring with Royce, right? Not saying that they're like they're not even really compatible like that, but you know, if I don't know, that's just an example of, you know, you can't base it on numbers all the time, especially nowadays, because it doesn't mean the same thing. Whereas back in the day, I guess if loads of people were going out to buy physical albums, then it shows that there was some sort of wave, I guess, in the kind of status quo or the in society that was making people feel like, I love these singles or whatever, I need to go out and buy the album. Again, you can make the same argument, well, so-and-so artist just has more marketing behind them, yada, yada, yada. So it's never really been the best thing to say, oh, well, this artist gets this many sales. Whatever, man. But yeah, that's my little rant over. But what was my original point? This album, I can imagine appealing to people who are kind of grew up in a certain time in hip-hop, but and listening to a certain type of hip-hop, and then didn't really care to move on with how the genre moved on. And they just kind of only like that kind of maybe that 90s boom bap sound or the early 2000s sound from the underground. And that's just their thing. They only like really that kind of hip hop. They haven't really kept up with how it's moved on. Like I said, I can see this kind of thing appealing to them. Because, you know, this is 2016. It's not an album I expect to come out in 2016, but I can imagine those slightly older people or people in my generation who are only into that thing will get a kick out of this kind of thing because it would probably be really fresh to them. But for me, where I am at now, it doesn't appeal to me in the same way because it feels like there's other stuff like this that I grew up listening to as well, but I feel like it hit me. I'm not going to say it's better. In my personal opinion, it was better, but that's maybe because I grew up on it. I've got a certain attachment to it. Yeah. Whereas I think the first song I did actually start to like was the next song, which was Anyway It Goes. I like MCA. I love his voice as well. Every time he features on something.
Yeah.
This song was kind of mean as well. You know, had that kind of vibe to it. Cool, kind of interesting beat as well. Not something I would go out my way to put on, but it probably could come up. You know, if I was to.
Oh yeah.
If I was to shuffle my library or something.
I have a hip hop playlist, and I got this song and one other later on this album.
Sure.
And I got loads of Common on it as well.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Goes really well.
Nice.
Like that stylistically.
Yeah. Yeah.
Goes really well with any song from like Common's album B.
Yeah.
Or what was the other one? Finding Forever.
Yeah.
That kind of era of Common and some of these songs just go hand in hand. And now I'm also making that connection because, like, in those playlists, I was doing that subconsciously. There must have been some kind of early 2000, like mid 2000s link that I didn't pick up on until now.
Of course, yeah. Like I had a
that
playlist
is blinding.
Like that. No, honestly, I had a playlist like that back in the day when I had a few more like kind of granular playlists where it would be like boom bap songs, but they didn't have to just be from the 90s because I was listening to like Joey Badass and he came out in the like 2012 onwards and he dropped Before the Money in 2015. That was his first studio album, but those songs could have fit big time on
for real,
on like a boom. So actually funny enough, a year before this, Joey Badass, who's probably younger than this guy, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
I mean, he's younger than me, I think, or about the same age. He drops his debut album in 2015, and that's got some amazing boom bap, old school kind of hip hop sounding songs, but they sound up to date. They sound like they didn't sound out of place in 2015. And that was
I
interesting.
get what you're saying.
Yeah, so it's like there was like songs from Primo on there. There was songs that were just like had that kind of bounce, like Paper Trails, that the way it just kind of it just had that knock to it, you know, and it never sounded out of place. We had To Pimp a Butterfly come out that year. We had Tetsuo and Youth by Lupe come out that year. We had Future's Dirty Sprite 2. The all that sort of stuff. There was such a range of hip hop coming out that year. This did not get shoved under the cover, you know, that particular album. Songs like Christ Conscious was fucking amazing. And I wasn't sitting there like, yo, this is some old shit, man. I don't want to hear this. Not saying that I necessarily felt that with this one, but this album I felt a bit more of a kind of, that's why I said at the top that it didn't feel like it was even trying to update it to now.
Yeah. I think this is quite a subdued album. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not trying to do anything. It is. It
just is.
That's it just is. And I think that it's a collection of beats that he clearly enjoys from a selection of music that he is heavily influenced by.
100%.
And I think that's basically what it is. Whereas the lyrics and the raps are
kind of front and center. Yeah.
Throughout this album, they're solid.
Oh yeah.
Like,
I cannot knock that. Not at all.
If he was any kind of video game character, this guy is Solid Snake, like always delivering, mate. He is solid. And I just, man, like, I think any way it goes, like this album especially, he turns it up a bit and he goes in and you think, wow, okay, cool. Like there's a bit of bite, a bit of nastiness to it. And this was my first time ever listening to MC8. So I was
fair.
Yeah, I remember thinking, I love the voice, that kind of.
Yeah.
He reminds me of who is it from UGK? Like that big kind of voice,
Bun
you
B.
know, that Bun B. Yeah.
But a more gruff West Coast version.
Yeah. It's just the way that there's this kind of, I don't know. He's got this bounce in his voice. It's really cool.
Sure.
You can't teach that. That's just who he is.
Yeah.
And so I went on a big old spree with MC8. So
MC8 was I think the first time I heard of him was on. No, I had heard of him before, and I heard him in a Lloyd Banks lyric as well. I didn't understand the lyric at first, because I was a lot younger, and then I heard about MC8, and I was like, oh shit, okay, because he says something like, you can't even see straight, and you don't have to go all the way to LA to get your MC8 or something like that. And I was
sure,
like, to get the.
Oh, that's a homophone.
Yeah.
That's is it a homophone?
Homophone,
like
it sounds the same but means something different. I think that's
brilliant.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, Jay-Z does it, doesn't he?
Jay-Z does it best. Yeah, actually,
he's so good at it.
Yeah,
like when he says, what does he say? Like,
I'm not a businessman. I'm a businessman.
That's that is incredible. I love that. And he's done another one as well. Like, he says, like, I'm always on my way, but I ain't playing. And then it's the way that he says playing,
but it means
so he's not playing, but he's not plain like ordinary Joe.
Yeah.
But he might be talking about he's not an aeroplane.
Yeah, because he said something about being fly. He says being fly.
It.
Yeah, so that's a triple. I thought that was a triple entendre, or maybe it is a triple entendre using homophones. I'm guessing.
Yeah. Oh, mate.
Yeah.
You know,
I sent a video about this to a friend of mine actually, being like, you know.
So that's
the goat. Yeah. Well, one of them.
Yeah, Jay-Z is disgusting.
Yeah. He doesn't. It's funny actually. Yeah. I anticipate when I say to people I really like Jay-Z. I anticipate people, even people who are really into hip hop, saying, I've never got into Jay-Z, and I understand it because I started like that. Yeah, I'm putting my hand up as well. I started like that, but once you get it, once it clicks.
Yeah, man. I remember my journey was Girls, H to the Izzo, and then so that album,
Blueprint,
and then I went back to. Oh yeah, that was Blueprint. I knew that. And then I went back to Volume 2.
Oh yeah.
Because there's that's really good tune on there.
Yeah.
Called "It's Alright," and it's one of my favourite Jay-Z tracks. Only because I also love the original Talking Heads "Once in a Lifetime" song. Like, I absolutely adore that song. So you know what I mean? He married that together into a sick beat. So that was where it I think Blueprint 2 I listened to, but I wasn't enamored by it. And then Blueprint 3 came along, and I was like, yeah, solid.
Yeah.
Really liked it. And then Magna Carta Holy Holy Grail was next. That's when I fell off. I was like, nah, not for me.
Yeah, that album should have been, for me, split in half. Because I remember really liking the top half of that, or at least most of the songs, and then I could never gel with the whole album though. And I used to think, man, Jay-Z just sounds like he's fucking late, especially after listening to like Eminem's album that year. And I'm like, you guys are the same age. Eminem sounds like he still cares about this shit. You don't sound like you care about this shit. But then over time, I was noticing all the different things he was doing, the homophones, triple entendres and stuff. And I was like, shit, man. I mean, Eminem's doing that stuff too. But like, I was like, shit, bruv, I didn't even notice to what extent he was doing it at like that, even still in his later stuff. But yeah, Jay-Z, what a guy. But yeah, the homophone thing.
He is a dude. Like, we'll give it that. But anyway,
why did we talk about homophones? What example did we give, or did we even give?
Oh man, MC8, Lloyd Banks.
That's why. Cool. Yeah, I would never have gone back to that. Yeah, so that's how I'd heard of him. And then he was on Good Kid, Mad City, on the second half of Mad City, and I was like, oh shit, okay, this is what this guy sounds like. And then I think I listened to an album of his that he bought out about 4 years ago, and then I never listened to it again. But then, he always sounds really good when he comes up on anyone's song or on his own song. But the song, there's 2 songs on here, which I was like, okay, finally, this has actually captured my attention, which was Wranglers and Asics. I don't know how you say that.
Asics.
I think I'm just a sucker for the sample that he uses in that.
Oh, the guitar sample is unreal. Yeah. It's such a orange color evening tune. Like big stuff's going down. It's hot. Like it's the old school 60s aesthetic that he like. This is a big tune.
Yeah, I love the choir sample in there too. The it's like a very short burst of that kind of sound, and it just sounds so clean. Ghostface had it as well on his Apollo Kids album on the very first song. Then there was another song I remember having back in the day, and every now and then I think about it because I just can't find it. It was back in the days when I'd go on Hot New Hip Hop and I would look at the new songs and I would download them and add them to my iTunes. That's all back on my like old laptop somewhere, and I have no frame of reference for what the song would be called, who the artists were, because I don't think they were that big. And I'm like, just now thinking about it, I'm like, fuck, what was that song? But I might have to do a little reverse search on the sample. But yeah, so this song was like, okay, yeah, this has pulled me in. Didn't realize that we were 5 songs into it. So I must have tuned out quite a bit from the first few. And then I like the next one as well. It's got that very kind of...
This is 90s hip hop.
It's like very 90s hip hop.
Straight out the gate.
The beat on this, the kind of... It's got that... I don't even know if they're chords or whatever that sample is, but it sounds so kind of... It's got a little frostiness to it, and...
Yeah. It's like a misty evening, and you're like by... It's like by like lamplight. You're like outside, and it's that kind of aesthetic. You're like walking across, I don't know, a park or something, and it's kind of got that late night street urban feel.
100%.
Sorry to just like come in and cut you off, but I just the neurons are firing. Like as soon as I heard the music, I was like, I know where I'm at.
That's.
But
100%.
I love it's the muted chords, the muted keys, and the muted bass.
Yeah,
and it's just a simple. It's literally two chords.
Yeah.
But it just adds this sort of swing of like walking, and then he's just this constant again.
Yeah.
Like we haven't spoken, like I'll go into one song in particular when it comes to the rapping.
Sure.
But again, it is just a constant, like he's very straight, like he sits right in the middle of the music.
100%, man. 100%.
And he's just, you can eat, what I love about him, he gives you the choice to either acknowledge or sort of, or just sort of ignore, right?
Sure.
Like he's just kind of like, you can sit back and just, not really pay attention, but I'm just going to be here like the postman. I'm just going to be delivering.
Yeah,
And then on this in particular, the guy is he's very good.
There's no denying he's
so
a really good MC. And like, have you heard the album by Elzai called Lead Poison with the white cover? Yeah. So that's how I would describe Elzai on that. Is that he is very tight. It sits in the beat very nicely, or on top of the beat at least. And it's almost like it's nicely compressed, and there's no. It's a constant, and it's just there's something about the rapping on that which is just such top tier level, and that's the kind of comparison I could make with this. The way this guy does it as well is so kind of effortless, and I know that he's not going to slouch on the mic. Now, whether, like you said before about another album, about the music complementing him, I didn't feel that across this one too much. That's the only thing. I think, because I think for the next few songs, I don't remember if I actually really liked these ones that much. Vibrate the Streets, that had I like the horn sample in that and the scratches and stuff. That had the kind of that knock that I liked. But
imagine Clear Soul Forces on it.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. That's why I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Fair. That would be really good, actually. If Clear Soul Forces, yeah. But Beneficence, he does his thing on this track, I'm not gonna lie. So he really goes in on this. And the beat's not too in your face either. I like that kind of horn sound and the little click click sounds as well. I don't know, they remind me of like something, and I can't pinpoint what, but gives me a very kind of inner city vibe. A bit dirty in the air, bit kind of that kind of smoggy kind of look. It really captures that. Yeah. Maui Vacation was okay. Nothing to write home about, at least for me. I don't know. Do you think anything about it?
So it's a very, very airy kind of tune.
The bongo song, the part though, I really like that part.
It always gave me that impression that I was in an airport or something like that, and it's the way that he raps like a story. It's like it almost feels like he's outside of himself. Like it's not him. He's telling you a story about someone he might know or something like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
because
for sure.
I don't think, just through his personality and stuff that he's presented throughout his albums, I don't think this guy's internationally smuggling drugs over the border in a private jet. No. So he's telling you a story, and I quite like it. You know what I mean? He's talking about somebody smuggling contraband through airport security.
Yeah.
Beneficence, I don't know if you're about that life. I hope not, but maybe if you did it, like, well played. Like, do you know what I mean? Yeah. Is it well played though?
I don't know. Yeah, that's a good question. Actually, I don't know.
But I do like I just like the story element of it, because he's stepping outside of himself. I think anyway. I could be completely wrong. Beneficence, if you ever listen to this, please feel free to set me straight on any of the above. But yeah, man.
For real.
What did you think of Against the Grain?
Against the Grain, it's like, it's cool, but again, it had that beat where it's like, the lower, what would you call them? The pianos, like they're like lower down on the scales. And yeah, it's just, I don't know, that kind of beat is just didn't appeal to me.
Doesn't do much, does it?
Nah, Beneficence, again, I can't really say much about him, because he does what he does. He does everything you'd expect him to. In a
solid
good way.
snake, mate.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just musically, it's just okay, cool. I get it. It's a hard beat on paper and stuff as well, and I can imagine hear it in the studio and be like, yeah, this beat's hard. But I personally probably, a good gauge for me sometimes as well is that as an MC, I guess there's a different viewpoint I can take as well, which is I could hear the beats and I might think to myself, if I heard that in a studio, would I change my mind if there was no one on it and I was thinking, what could I do over it? But sometimes I'll listen to the beat, listen to a song and think, if someone showed me that beat, what would I think? And I probably would sit there and be like, yeah, this is cool. And then if they was to ask, oh, have you got anything for it? I'll probably be like, nah. And then I'll probably say, next beat. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I hear that.
Yeah,
I get you.
It's still hard. It's still a good beat. It's not bad. I'm not going to tell you like, bruv, delete that. Don't show that to anyone because that's
it's just not for you. That's just what it is, right?
Yeah, and I think that matches up also with what kind of music is also for me in general for me to enjoy. I mean, there's some stuff where there's certain artists like take someone like Milo. He's a very weird alternative hip hop artist, spoken word type stuff. He raps. Are you familiar with Milo?
I know the name. Do you know what? I think I've listened to Milo before,
sure,
but I've forgotten.
Okay, I might give you. I think I was going to give you an album of his, or I suggested one.
I couldn't download it.
Couldn't find it. Yeah, it
or
was
something.
Not,
I couldn't find it. Yeah.
So okay. So then we could have discussed that one, but I wouldn't necessarily. I like the beats that he's on, at least for certain albums, like the one that I was gonna give you. This might have been pre-podcast or maybe early on, but it wasn't on your service or something. But on that album, it's called "So the Flies Don't Come." If people played those beats to me, and I was in that mood where I was like, I'm creating an album specifically like this with this particular vibe, then those beats I probably would be like, yeah, I'll take a try at them, but I'll have to try something different. But Milo paired up with those beats, even if they're not beats that I would personally pick for myself, for my own catalog, I'm like, yeah, these two go together so nicely. I'm a fan of this. I wouldn't make that kind of music though, but yeah, that sounds really good. I'm really into that. Do you know what I mean? So it's not strictly black and white as if I wouldn't make that song, I don't like it. It's not like that. Because then that means there's a lot of R&B stuff that I wouldn't like because I'm not out here singing on tracks. But when it comes to some of these hip hop beats, these more kind of typical hip hop beats, it's a bit easier to gauge like that. I think the next song again is like a kind of typical hip hop beat. It's nice strings and stuff. It's cool, but it's something that would have hit me more back in the day if I'd heard this. I think I've heard so much like Forevermore, so much hip hop that sounds like this. At least in the kind of late 2000s or early 2000s, and that kind of chopped sample based stuff. Apollo Brown does that kind of thing too, but there's something a bit different with Apollo Brown. But
oh man, he's gold.
Yeah, there's something about the way he does it. When I hear these kind of beats, I'm like, oh, okay, this is cool. And I used to have fun making these kind of beats, like chopping up a string section and putting it over a beat. Just used to be so satisfying, so fun. Don't really do that anymore because of like sample issues and things like that. But it's when I hear it now, it doesn't hit me the same way. Whereas Elzai had an album called what's it called? The Prelude or the Pre-something? Yeah, Prelude. And I think he had a song on there called Savior. And then there was another one called Colors or Guessing Game. I can't remember which one exactly, but there was some of those songs which had these string sample beats which Black Milk produced, and there's such hard drums though behind them. But this was the first time me hearing that kind of hip hop, so I was like really pulled into that. When I hear it now, I'm just like, yeah, it's cool. You know, it doesn't hit me the same way. I think I liked When the Sun Comes. Did you think anything of Forevermore or anything? So
the whimsical nature of the music goes directly against and contradicts the knowledge bombs that he drops. This is one of those songs where I always skipped past the on the album. Like, not skip past, but I'd listen but not listen, right?
Yeah, you tune out.
Then I keyed into the lyrics, especially on this time, and it's honestly wall to wall knowledge bombs. It's just brilliant, right? Talking about the industry, life in general. Yeah, okay. I think that the music betrays the excellence of what he's speaking about. Sure. But then that kind of higher, the sort of higher, what's the word? I can't think. Like, he's not rapping about himself. He's rapping about, higher elevated subjects. Sure. That's the word. I think this song is a great lead-in to When the Sun Comes, which, in my opinion, is one of my favorite hip hop songs, like of all time. I'm going to say
All
it.
time. Okay.
Yeah, it's up there. I think about this song a lot. And the reason why, bro, is because it's hopeful. It's talking to you about it. Kind of the kind of simplest way of discussing this song in particular is why are you alive?
Right.
Like what is important to you, and why are you alive specifically? Because the sun will go supernova and destroy the solar system. You know, if we say, I don't know, just imagine we were around on that fateful day.
Yeah.
Anybody going to be at work?
No.
Like, real talk. So I think that it's basically like a reaffirmation of what our morals should be.
Sure.
And like what I love about it, it's a rallying call as well when he says stuff like so when he says stuff like fucking hell, I've forgotten. No, it's coming to me. So when he says the hottest star formed from a molecular cloud, the sun will beam down on a boy that makes his mama so proud, and so we'll open our minds. We'll open our minds to the world and take a bow. Open your minds and let the bright sun shine. You know, I like the way that he's saying, like, open your mind up, like, don't fucking be locked into the bullshit that we're locked into, basically. Sure. And the thing is, as well, I need to shut up because you know, you need to talk.
No. Fair, because I mean, I think this may be my favorite song on this album potentially. Yeah.
Good man. Real recognizes real, man.
For sure. So
yeah.
Love the beat, love the vibe. That little chord sample sounds like the sun. Like
it does, doesn't it?
Sounds like a sundown, you know? Or sunrise. Whichever way where the sun's not fully in view, it sounds like the way that looks. And the vocal sample that comes in, like see, if there was more, maybe it's also like not the tempo, but I don't know if this is the right word, the key of like the sample or the sound. Maybe if it was a bit more minor or down tempo, like I don't know exactly how to describe it, but more songs like that across this album, and I would have been fully in, because that pairing with Beneficence and his kind of delivery and everything, I would have been fully behind that, because I know that I haven't been really honing in on the lyrics, and the reason is because I gave this maybe 2 listens and then like a final kind of skim one when I was going back to understand, like, okay, if I was going to write any notes or anything like that, if there's anything in particular to bring out. But the thing is, the replay value was hard for me because the music has to be there. I know, like, lyrics are important as well to me, but it goes on like on a kind of spectrum, I guess. So the MC has to be really, really good if the beat is very, very simple and kind of plain. You know, you have to really bring, and sometimes that's a good breeding ground for an MC. Sometimes you hear a song, you're like, this sounds amazing, but if you took the vocal off it, you might hear the beat and be like, man, what? They would have heard this beat without any vocals on it. Why did they pick it? And yet, when the marriage comes together, it's so good, right? They complete it. Whereas you don't want some kind of really basic MC or rapper on a very mid-sounding beat. You know, that's just, the whole song's just gonna fall flat. Alternatively, I've heard songs with amazing beats which have okay rappers on it, or they're just hyping and whatever.
It's a travesty, isn't it?
And sometimes it's like frustrating, like, oh, this beat could have been done justice, but then sometimes it's okay because the music carries it enough, depending on the song, depending on the artist. So in this case, for this album, if it's like across 19 songs as well, it was hard for me to ever want to go onto this and press play and listen to it again, you know, because
I hear that.
There was only like 7 or 8 songs out of 19 that I picked out that I would have kept, this being one of them, and that's why I haven't been able to like hone in on the lyrics. Whereas if it was like, I don't know, we probably wouldn't do a Black Thought album because we both would have listened to it, but Yeah, or a Royce album, because we both would have been there and listened to it.
Well, this is something when we can start selling the podcast to people that we can actually have in the back burner, like on when we launch our Patreon and stuff.
Oh, for real,
You want to listen to Black Thought? You want to listen to Royce? You want to listen to Eminem deep dives? Oh yeah, we'll be doing whole back catalogues of stuff.
For real.
And just for the people, we will be doing a Michael Jackson deep dive series, and we'll give that free because, listen, it's MJ.
Yeah.
Everybody deserves to hear it. So
everyone deserves to hear that.
We will be doing that. That will be coming. That will be coming like real soon. We'll make like announcements. I don't know, like next week, something like that.
We'll set all that up in the we're setting all that kind of stuff up in the background.
Yeah,
Discord,
I'm gonna give you guys content,
understanding all that shit, so you guys can come in, drop in live while we listen along, share the screen, listen along to the actual music as well, and you can contribute.
Yeah.
So yeah, we can go in deep dive like that. So now back from the little ad break. Follow us at the KaeDee Exchange on social. Instagram and Twitter.
Like, share, and subscribe.
So yeah, I really like this song.
I just have to say, right?
Yeah, go on.
On this song, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna So there is a musical chorus and a vocal chorus that is clearly. It's clear, right? So open your mind, let in the bright sunshine. We travel the road wise till we reach our prime.
Yeah.
Perfect blend to perfection, shows through reflection. The decision is yours, so make the right selection. Anyway, in these streets we don't speak, so to each his own. We're inherent to life, like the melanite stone. What's a melanite stone?
What is
basically obsidian. Amazing, I love it. Like, I think that he's saying in that lyric, like, black people are inherent to sort of like culture. I think that's what that is. It's a recognition of his skin color. Yeah. In the street, one of my favorite things he says as well is, we walk with the torch lit, strength make 'em forfeit, backpedaling caution, bringing heat like August, right? That's the vocal chorus. And then how they play with structure in this is like, he will do, normally you've got like a song structure is like 16 bars, first verse.
Yeah.
Intro 2 bars, 16 bars, like first verse, chorus is 4 bars. Back to your 16 verse, right? Yeah. But in this, it's like 12.
Sure.
It's like 12 bars first verse. No, maybe even more. It's like 14 bars first verse, but then 6 bars for the musical chorus. So it plays with like timing. So at different parts of the chorus throughout this song will have different impacts.
Sure.
And like even there's one bit in the second chorus in particular. The vocal chorus stops 2 bars before the musical chorus does. And then he has to fill it in when he goes, Roy Years knew the time. That's why everybody loves the sunshine, defined for my people on the grind. And it's just, I just love that kind of playing with time and texture, basically. And I just, man, I like absolutely flipping adore this song, as you can imagine. And like, plus, when he talks about, this song will always be my eldest son's like song. Because especially when he says, the sun will beam down on a boy that makes his mum so proud. Because, that year we welcomed our first son, 2016, into the world. And as soon as I hear that, like, I always think of my wife holding him and just looking at him, like, and also in the sunshine. And it's just, next level. That's why I love it so much.
For sure, man.
Anyway.
For sure. For real, man. This is definitely the standout cut on this whole album for me. Like, I remember getting to this point and thinking, this really capturing my attention after having kind of zoned out a little bit again after that 2-song kind of back to back. There was a few songs that wasn't really hitting for me, and then this song came in and I was like, bro, where did this come from? I can completely see why it's one of your favorites. And when you were quoting the lyrics, from what it kind of corroborates what you were saying before about him being a really good rhymer. Because there are people who are really good with just rhyming words. And it's not as easy as just writing some words on a paper and then just trying to think of everything that rhymes with it. Because some people would not ever think of rhyming forfeit with cautious. They would think forfeit.
Right.
Some people who are novices would think forfeit. What rhymes with forfeit? Kit. I don't know, something. They would be very
hit, shit,
yeah,
git.
shit, git. They would be very kind of one syllable,
lit.
end syllable ish, and it has to be the letter at the end. It can't be like a word. Like if you said, "Oh, sick," they'd be like, "What? That doesn't rhyme.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?" It's like, bruv.
Well, it's the it's the bit beforehand though when he says we walk with the torch lit.
Yep. And
strength make 'em forfeit.
Yep.
Backpedaling, caution, bringing heat like it's caution and August, bringing heat like August. Like how it works though because of the
it's because of the syllables.
You have
the caution, August, and forfeit. I mean, you've seen that video of Eminem saying, people say nothing rhymes with orange, and it pisses me off. And I'm like sitting there like, yes, I get it, because I wanted to show that to my people at school so badly sometimes, because you would try and like they would ask, I don't know, they would say like if they were writing something just randomly for something else, and an English assignment or just for fun or something, and they'd be like, oh, this word doesn't rhyme, or what's a rhyme for this word or something like that. And I would suggest something, and they'd be like, that doesn't rhyme. Or that doesn't make sense. And I'm like, bruv, you just were talking about how Eminem is a genius, and he's one of the best. He's like the best rapper of all time. When you don't listen to any other hip hop, right? You only listen to him. Do you even know why you like him? Because that same guy would walk into the school, and if he heard you saying that, would probably be like, bruv, I can think of a million words that rhyme with this. I could rhyme this entire sentence and make it make sense, right?
Yeah.
And you're going to sit there and just be like, are you going to tell, really? You're going to tell me? Like, imagine Eminem coming up to you and saying, yeah, these rhyme, and you telling him, nah, it doesn't, bro. Imagine saying to someone like Beneficence, nah, these words don't rhyme, bro. Really? You're going to tell him?
Yeah.
Nah, fuck off.
Yeah.
Like, the hip-hop artists need to get more credit as writers, man, because some of the shit that they're doing.
I agree.
Yeah. When Jay-Z said that Biggie should be up there with like Bob Dylan and people like that, 100%
Body of work. Cut short by his untimely death, obviously. But for me, the biggest thing is, yeah, he had ability. He was very, very good. He was recognised. Don't get me wrong. He could go up with the best at the time. I'm not saying he couldn't.
Oh, wait, who are we talking about? Biggie?
Biggie, yeah. For me, he will never, he won't touch. He didn't get the opportunity to make a crap album. Common, one of the most consistently awesome artists, made a bad album.
Yeah.
Like, went in a different direction, went and explored. Eminem, he's made a couple of bad albums,
Yeah. Oh, no,
and
I agree with that. I agree with that.
I just think that
what I'm saying is
Biggie
is
immortalized. I say, Biggie's flow was, Biggie's pen was unparalleled, really.
Exactly, because and Jay-Z made Jay-Z is the one who brought up Biggie, whereas I personally would bring up someone else. Like I would say Kendrick or Royce. I'd say, look, you need to put these guys up. Rakim, you need to put these guys up as some of the best writers of all time, alongside all these other distinguished people that we teach in school and stuff like that. It doesn't matter that they make hip hop music. These guys are incredible lyricists and incredible writers.
Yeah, so and they're breaking rules of words like
breaking
all the
rules.
time.
Yeah,
constantly.
Like, who the fuck else was rhyming orange with door hinge with 4-inch with George with eating porridge?
George.
yeah. And he even says it. He even says like you've got to bend the words and stuff. That's why I love like the Relapse album. I don't think people really got what he was doing. They're just like, oh, I just don't like the accents. And it's like he's bending his voice and doing all that weird shit to make all these words rhyme and tell this weird serial killer story. And now you have rappers doing that shit all the time within the trap scene. You hear someone like Young Thug fucking up it with his voice all the time. And who else? Playboy Carti and all these guys. I'm not really into that kind of stuff, but you can see the seed that was sown around that time, But anyways, there's no, you can't say shit about someone like Beneficence and his kind of rhyming capability, his general writing capability. Even though I haven't deep dived on the lyrics, I can just tell from like a passing listen. Like, yeah, this guy, his delivery is so tight.
Yeah.
The words stick out, like the way he's kind of putting them together. There is a way of phrasing certain things and putting words together, which doesn't come easy to everyone. But people like this make it sound like it's easy. they make you feel like I could do that, and then you go and try and do it, and you're like, fuck, it's actually way harder than I thought. That's the point. That's the point. These guys make it look easy. When you watch an athlete or a sports person that you really admire, they make it look like that's something you could do.
You know, like I saw the other day, there was a picture of Usain Bolt, like training when he was younger, and he said, I trained 4 years to run for 9 seconds.
Yeah.
You don't see that training, do you?
No, you don't.
You know, it's just, you know, you see, I don't know, yeah, anybody who's a pro at anything, they make it look easy.
For real.
But it's because you haven't seen that they have dedicated their lives for the past, 10, 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
Drilling their body.
What's that called? It's like the iceberg, right? You only see the top.
There you go. Yeah.
There you go.
Hopefully that will be this podcast one day.
It will be. I mean, you could even put it down. The microcosm of that is when we were talking about you editing the video, or just editing videos in general. It takes like 5 or 6 hours of time and effort for a 4-minute video, and it's like,
yeah,
and the quality is really good, but you didn't just make that in 4 or 5 minutes. You made that in 4 or 5 hours.
Well, yeah, 4 or 5 hours only because of the first draft. Like, I was so angry. I thought I could like edit stuff out and like cheat my way. Nope. Had to do it again.
Oh man, long man. But people don't see that.
People won't see that. They'll just see an awesome video that I'm actually really, really proud of. So check it out. Oh no, actually no. If you've seen, if you ain't seen Spider-Man, don't check out that video because it's got spoilers.
Heavy.
I mean, yeah.
Literally direct clips from the film. So
direct clips and rips from the film, which was lit. I was going to show more, but I thought, no, I better not, just in case we get copyright strikes or something like that. But
it's a tricky kind of water to tread.
Do you know what I mean? But anyway, sorry. Back to
Beneficence.
Back to this.
So
yeah, man.
What was the next song?
6th song. Ghetto Music Rap.
When the Sun Comes, a great song. Just in general, not even just on this album. Ghetto Music Rap was cool. I like the guy's name, Confidence. It sounds like Beneficence and Confidence are like brothers on like Tekken or something like that because they've got like similar, just similar descriptive names. You know, I am Confidence. I am Beneficence. All right, cool. You probably linked in some way. I don't know.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, especially Tekken Tag Tournament. Like,
you can play them both.
Make teams. Yeah, boy.
Confidence.
I flipping love Tekken.
Tekken's so sick, man.
Mate.
Do you play Mortal Kombat as well?
Well, okay. So I was there back in the day of Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3. Yeah. Sure. So I've been an absolute fan since then.
Sure.
However, my gameplay has gone right down. I haven't played it since Mortal Kombat, I think, 4.
Okay.
But I know the story because I'm a flipping nerd. But anyway. But what about you?
Yeah. I've played Mortal Kombat, but I've always preferred Tekken's kind of button to each limb system because it's
amazing.
It feels more intuitive when you play. I've never really been too. It was hard for me to go into Mortal Kombat from Tekken.
Oh, from Tekken. Yeah, I was the other way round, right? So for me, Mortal Kombat was 2D flat against. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like there wasn't any like using the ring or anything like that. Whereas when Tekken came out, remember when that came out? What, 96, 97? And my cousin had a PS1.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, check out this game. Maybe even 95, you know. Oh, check this out. Blew my mind. Yoshimitsu, one of
what a guy.
My favourite characters. So,
yeah,
man, like I flipping love Tekken.
Yeah, I still play it. I think I got Tekken Tag Tournament 2.
Big game.
Yeah, because that was on the 360. I remember the Christmas that we got that. We just played that endlessly. And then I think I got it recently on my Xbox, but yeah. So I still play that shit. What's the next song? So this next song, I actively did not like this song at all. Blast This Shit. I did not like that. I did not want to blast this shit.
I know the sample.
I didn't like the chop. I didn't like the beat. It felt like it just kind of plodded along. he himself rapping on it didn't really save it for me, even though he's capable or competent, whatever word you want to use. So I like the ODB sample, but everything else, I was like, what? I was like, nah, man. It takes a lot for me to want to skip a song, and this, I really felt that on this one.
So I think that somebody, either his producer or somebody, listened to Death Grips' first album, because there's a song on there called Spread Eagle Across the Block, and it's like this old it's like rapping over a very, very old style blues guitar riff. Okay. Very weird. Okay. This has shades of that for me. I'm not saying that, maybe they are mutually exclusive and they didn't know each other existed, but there's overlap here where I'm like, you're trying to be a bit like it's got shades of that where you're trying to maybe rap over something that doesn't quite
work.
And so this is the point of the album where I stopped making notes.
Okay.
Because I was like, I know where I'm at. Like, we'll move on to the next track, and I like that song. That's brilliant.
Each one to each one.
Tell a lie. Nope.
You didn't like this one?
I didn't like this one.
Okay.
I mean, it's alright. What did you think?
It's alright. I mean, it's kind of cool. I quite like the kind of the bass and the beat, but
it's very walky.
It's very walky. Yeah, yeah. That's a great way of putting it. You can just walk and have this playing. This is the soundtrack to a walk.
Yeah,
but that's it. I do like the next one. We got that. Yeah.
This is the one that I was thinking of. Yeah. I love this song. As soon as I downloaded the album, this was the one that I was like, I'm keeping that as well.
For sure. It's
just that twinkly key.
Twinkly,
like,
that's the word. Yep.
And it's just, we got that. I love it.
This is,
we got that.
Man, if it just had these songs.
Yeah. But like also songs. The rapping again is just, especially in this one as well, like it's brilliant. I could just listen to it. I've forgotten what it's about like already, but when I put it back on, it's like, here we go.
Sure.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like I always, every time I listen to this song, it's like the first time. Again, like I enjoy it so much. It's not quite a masterpiece like When the Sun Comes.
Yeah, When the Sun Comes is the top tier song from here, I think.
Yeah.
The next song, I think I liked this one as well.
This one's cool.
This one has the cool kind of sample chopping in and out, so it doesn't always like land at the parts you expect, and then the drum comes in and interrupts it. I always like that kind of choppy sound in those beats. It adds a real kind of cool rhythm to those kind of hip hop beats. And it's cool. I was surprised to see someone like Chubb Rock on here. I think he was wasn't Chubb Rock from Digital Underground or one of those old school hip hop groups? I'm not sure. I recognize the name. Yeah, and your boy Confidence back on here as well on the tag team.
Oh, who was he with?
Chubb Rock, and who was that guy? I don't know if it's the same guy from in Digital Underground, and there was the guy who was friends with Tupac, and I watched the documentary and he was in it, and I just cannot remember his name unless that is Chubb Rock himself.
I think it is like himself. I'm actually just having a quick look.
Yeah. What did you look up?
I've literally just typed in Chubb Rock.
Oh, okay. Does it say he's part of Digital Underground?
Negative.
No? Okay.
Not that I can see.
I'm probably confusing two different people. It's probably someone probably listens to this who knows, and probably because I do this too, where they're just like saying out loud to themselves, "No, he's from this. He's from this. He's from this."
Oh,
group.
Listen, hey,
come
man,
on, get it.
I said that flipping Beneficence was from New York. I've known this guy's like music for the last 6 years.
Oh, okay.
Come on now.
Yeah.
Come on, it's all right. We're human.
No,
and
it's
plus,
for real.
In my defense, right? So we're dropping this episode tomorrow.
Yeah.
It is Monday. Last night, do you want to know what time I got to bed?
What time?
3 in the morning.
3 in the morning.
You know why? Boy 2 was ill.
Oh,
so tired. Right? Yeah. No, he had a stomach ache and basically cried for 4.5 hours. He woke up at 9:15.
Oh, shit.
Then we managed to get him down for a bit, and then it was just yeah, it was bad. He woke up at
Jeez.
about 11, and then and then he cried. And then with me, I always like to talk shit, and he then did a massive poo poo, and then he was so tuckered out, poor guy, passed out in my arms. I was like, oh, I only got to wake up in 3 hours. So,
Oh well.
bless him. It's cute. Anyway,
Yeah, he doesn't know any better, and he won't
we
remember.
get stuff wrong.
Yeah.
Well, he won't remember. I
You
will.
You
So,
will. Yeah. So he'll be living out his life, happy, carefree, and you'll be looking at him in the future, thinking, "I remember that night."
I remember that.
And you don't even fucking remember.
Mate, you never heard him. I've never heard him cry like that. I think it was a bit of, he was a bit ill, a bit snotty, but a bit like constipated. Poor boy. He's only 7 months old. Bless him. Yeah. But anyway, enough about that. Back to the album. Sorry.
I think Master of the Class. I think that was the last song I really liked on this project. So
Agreed.
The next ones, I just don't remember them that well.
I'm tuckered out by this point in the album. Like, I'm done.
Even like, it's just too long. And so this song, Manuscripts, kind of cool, interesting sample in the beat, but it wasn't enough to keep me pulled in. I think I mentioned this producer called L'Orange before to you.
L'Orange.
Yeah. And he makes really interesting beats with like these old school 40s or 50s type samples. And they sound really interesting. It sounds something like that. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if L'Orange, I don't even know how to say his name, if he produced this one, but it doesn't sound fully like something he would do. But the song just kind of came and went for me personally.
Yeah, agreed. I'm with you.
Yeah. And then The Heart, which is the penultimate track. Again, cool, boom bap type beat.
Yep, solid hip hop.
But it's cool, And then we have the final song, Make It Hot, Jingle Jangle 2. I recognize the sample. I've heard that before. It's kind of cool.
I can't listen to it because I'm like, it's not Christmas.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking too. I'm like that as well. I can't listen to it. If there's any mention of Christmas or any Christmas vibes, sorry, bruv, it's sunny outside. Well, it's not really sunny outside, but it's not Christmas. That ship has sailed.
I know.
I'm already, not to go off topic, but I've been weirdly feeling this kind of, I don't usually look forward to Christmas this early in the year. Something weird has happened, I think, because of how much of
shoddy
the
last one was.
How much the last one bombed. I feel like in my head I'm like owed a good Christmas.
Yeah. And plus the year before Boris tried to steal it and stole it.
Exactly. So
you know what I mean?
Almost.
For any people outside of the UK, Boris Johnson, if you didn't know and you've been living under a rock, is the UK's Prime Minister. Although that has been super quiet recently, I suppose.
He has to
be.
He can't be saying shit right now. And
I suppose,
tripping up anyone's fucking ego or anything like that, So
true stories. He's on his P's and Q's. But guys, no, do you know what? The KaeDee exchange, we are an oasis away from the wasteland of politics and real life stuff. Life is distressing enough.
Yeah.
Without even having to bring it up.
Yeah.
So we would like to be your oasis and you know what I mean?
And your escape.
Talk to you. Yeah, exactly. Talk to you with some music and some life experiences and other random assorted nonsense that is popping up in our heads.
For sure, yeah.
I mean, because the world is dark enough. It's like it's like watching a Zack Snyder film where it's like watching Batman versus Superman. Not one smile in that whole film, at all. If I wanted to go and see a comic book movie that reflected real life, I'd watch Kick-Ass or Super or something, right? When I want to watch Batman and Superman, I want to escape my life. I want to sit there, entertain me, do what flipping Spider-Man did. You know what I mean?
For real.
I was sitting there gleaming from ear to ear because I was in fantasy land. That's what entertainment should be, not a reflection of real life, which is heinous, man.
Yeah,
it's flipping heinous.
I mean, you could say that art naturally reflects real life, but
it's true.
But I do get your point. I like the escape, but I like it, when there's a bit of a connection to, the world is not 100% perfect. And and when the art reflects that, but gives us some form of hope and escape and fantasy, and it grounds us in that, doesn't give us a complete fairy tale thing maybe like a kids show would, or for example. Yeah, I think this podcast can be like that too, because we talk about some real world shit every now and then. So, we keep the listeners,
sometimes you have to.
You have to. We keep the listeners connected. But in general, it all comes back to the music, and it all comes back to kind of just escape and for that. And also hearing, I notice this too when I listen to podcasts sometimes, is when I hear other people talking about things that are going on, sometimes every now and then, or touch upon it, it makes me feel a bit more calm, because it's like there's other people here as well, living in the same world as you. We're all in it together, that kind of thing. It promotes that kind of idea, that you're not fully alone. Everyone is sharing a human condition, that kind of thing. The condition of being human.
Some worse than others, unfortunately.
Unfortunately,
at the moment, oh my goodness. Yeah. But anyway.
But regardless, yeah. So, I was going to say something else, because you mentioned Batman v Superman. Have you seen the new Batman film?
I have not. Have you?
I have. I saw it yesterday.
Really?
Yeah, man.
Jeez, you're quick. It only came out, what, Thursday? Friday?
Friday, yeah. Well, I was meant to go see it on Friday, and then on Friday, I forgot it was Friday, and I went into our group chat, and I was like, shit, we didn't even consolidate, or what's the word? We didn't confirm these plans. And I was like, guys, it's Friday. Did we even, and then it was like last minute kind of, okay, shit, are you guys available on the weekend? Maybe Sunday, Saturday, Sunday? And we ended up actually doing it on yesterday. So glad about that.
Was it a quieter theatre?
It was actually it was well packed enough. Yeah.
Jeez, man, don't these people have flipping work on Mondays and they're going to see films on a Sunday night? So go on and give me, I don't want spoilers or anything, but is it good?
Yeah, it's good.
Really? So I've been seeing on Twitter people say Ben Affleck is their favourite Batman. I think he's lit as Batman, but he's the best version. But Robert Pattinson does a really, really good rendition of The Dark Knight.
This is he's my favourite Batman.
Yeah. Okay, then, I don't want to know any more than that.
No, that's why I'm not going to say anything more. I have never been into the Batman films like that, in that sense, in how just in general, I've enjoyed them, but then I kind of forget about them afterwards, and I don't really connect to them in that way. But this one, I really connected to it. I don't know if it was the other movie parts of the aspects of the movie, like the cinematography and all that sort of shit as well, and just I liked the way Robert Pattinson portrayed it. It was the first time watching a Batman film, where I thought, finally, a Batman film that actually I'm sitting there thinking, this is sick. Do you know what I mean? There were times in other Batman films, not saying that I didn't think any of them were good, but and I'm not trying to be like counterculture and shit, but when people talk about The Dark Knight, I watched that film because I love the Joker in it.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, but I as a film overall, it's not something I'm like, man, I fucking love that film. I want to watch it again and all that sort of shit. I'm just like, okay, yeah, it's been a long time. Yeah, let's go watch it again, I guess.
So I will give you. I saw that in the theater. Friend of the show, Chris, with him, and I remember being in the cinema and it getting to the end of the film. And if you haven't seen it by now, people, spoilers. Only 14 years late or whenever.
Yeah.
But when it got to the Joker twisting Two-Face in the hospital, and he's like, "Hi."
Oh yeah.
And he's like, you want to know the thing about chaos? It's fair, and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
That's when I felt I'm done with the film. Like it's been too much already.
Right. Yeah. Right.
And then when you're introducing Two-Face, who, by the way, Aaron Eckhart, I think he was amazing as Two-Face. I really think is a really good performance.
Sure.
Would have loved a whole film of him. Only because I just love the way you can already see when he's injured, like just the way he's already twisted, like he's in pain, he's lost Rachel and all of that.
Yeah.
And Commissioner Gordon's like, oh, we're sorry to hear, that you lost your, and he can't even say her name. He's like, Rachel, like just screaming at him. And I was like, yeah. And the fact that they killed him off, I was like, oh, it's such a waste.
They did kill
and then
him
we
off,
got Bane
didn't
in,
they?
and then they got Bane in the third film, which was a wet fart. Like, to be fair, I do like, what's his name?
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy. I think he's an excellent actor.
He is, yeah.
But yeah, they sort of missed a trick there. I do think that they should have had the joke. I mean, it's fine, like, hey, look at Monday morning scriptwriter, like, look at me. But I remember it being in the theatre going, it would have been great to do Two-Face's origin here,
and then
have
him in the next one or something.
But then have the last scene as when the Joker says to him, the thing about chaos is it's fair, and then he gives him the gun, and then Two-Face flips the coin. He's like, heads you live, tails you die. And then when the Joker says, now you're talking, that's the last time you see Two-Face. And then in the next film, it would be him. You could roll in Bane as well as the muscle or whatever.
Yeah.
But I just think that Aaron is a waste of a brilliant performance, a potentially brilliant performance as well. Because we talk about Heath Ledger, and that Joker was astounding. I don't care. I don't know if anyone will top it.
Yeah.
Until we see somebody top it.
Yeah.
But I think Aaron Eckhart was really, really onto something when they cast him as Two-Face. But anyway, that's enough of that.
I feel you. I feel you on that. I just I understand the praise for those movies. I just when I watched them,
where is it?
I always felt, and it's funny, is actually it was cool watching this film and then talking to my friends afterwards, and then being like, us talking, and then you talk, because like the Christopher Nolan film, that's the guy, right, who directed.
Yeah, Christopher Nolan. Yeah.
It feels like, you're not, they're like a sacred trilogy. You're not allowed to say anything bad about those films, right?
Oh, you can,
but
mate.
Of course you can. Of course you can, right? I'm not one of those kind of people like, bruv, bash the Sam Raimi Spider-Man films if you really want to. I still love them. I know how I feel about them, and I can back my point up, which is fine. People can do that for The Dark Knight. But I feel like just in general in the conversation, sometimes it feels like, you're not allowed to say that you don't like The Dark Knight. It's kind of not allowed. When I say not allowed, it's like if you say that, people, it's like hella controversial. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's like what are you talking about? And I'm like, bruv,
it's too long.
It's too long.
Too much happens
like
in it. I was
movies
exhausted
I'm
watching.
sitting there like,
yes,
exactly. I'm sitting there thinking, wait, this film hasn't fucking ended yet. Or okay, this is the climax.
I haven't got to the boat bit yet.
Yeah,
it's been 2.5 hours, bro.
And I'm like, oh, is this all needed? And then like, and then there's a lot of like exposition in these films where people are explaining the shit that's happening. And then there's a lot of not a lot of, sorry, but when I see Batman in those films, I'm just like, this looks like a guy in a Batman suit. This doesn't look, for me personally, until the third one. I think each suit got better and better, but I really didn't like the way he looked in the first film.
But that's the thing. Like he even says it at the start of Batman. Oh, the second Batman, The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Where he's like, Alfred, I need to be able to turn my head. He's upgrading throughout the whole
That's fair
thing.
enough, because the third film,
like Iron
he
Man.
looked well good. Yeah. Okay,
Iron Man's always upgrading his suit. He's always got more lasers by Avengers, like not just a one-time thing
and stuff. Yeah.
Then he gets the nanotech and all of that stuff. So, I think that's the thing with Batman. He's always just upgrading his gear.
I just never liked looking at him on screen, and I never. I didn't like the growly voice thing he was doing in this film. I don't have any of those complaints at all. For me personally.
Okay.
Right? For me personally.
Yeah, because I've only seen the trailer where he's just like, who are you?
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm vengeance. And that's all I've heard.
I was not sitting there thinking, like, I wasn't sitting there rolling my eyes whenever he spoke. Compared to the other, the Dark Knight.
Where is the trigger?
The other films. I watched it recently. I watched The Dark Knight recently with a friend of mine, because I don't know, we were going to watch like a comedy film, and then I was like, you know what, I'm actually in the mood for Batman for some reason. I don't know why. And we put it on, and not that we turned it into a joke. Like, it's still a good film, but there was a lot of sitting
Yeah.
there watching it and being like, okay, but why? Or why this? Why that? Or, bro, this film still hasn't ended yet. And it just turned into like just jokes, just continuous jokes at this film.
Fair enough.
At this, supposedly kind of, whatever. And I think maybe when these films came out, they were like kind of counter to the typical superhero films at the time. Like they were the darker, more
Iron Man
edgy.
hadn't dropped.
No, yeah, Iron Man hadn't dropped, but they were like the darker, gritty kind of superhero films, more grounded. People always say like, "Oh, I like the darker Batman films," because they're dark and they're gritty and they're edgy and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I get that, but as I've grown up, I realized that like when I was younger, I used to think, because if something's like a bit darker and gritty or edgier, it's like better. Like I used to be attracted towards that.
Yeah, Zack Snyder. I see. Look, again, I'm just gonna, poo on this guy, but he's all of that tone. Like,
yeah, he just drops that filter on the
gritty,
movie. Like, this is okay.
darker.
We'll make it gritty. We'll just put the filter on it. And it's like, bro, it doesn't work that way. You have to actually make the film gritty.
Like we'll make Sucker Punch really, really gritty and all of that. It's like it's a piece of crap. Anyway, dude, we've got a movie podcast to do this stuff on.
We do.
Let's bring it back.
Let's bring it all the way back.
All the way back.
All the way back. All right.
To Beneficence. Right. You have to give me a score and, if you want, a top 5.
I've got a top 5 and I've got a score. And it's just, so there's a bunch of 5s, aka the rating. I had to give it a 5 out of 10. Because...
Son of a bit. Okay, go on.
What's half of 18? 9.
9.
Right? Okay, so maybe
Quick maths.
It's about 19 songs, half 8.5. 9.5, sorry. So I only liked like 8 songs on here. So I felt a bit harsh giving it a 4 out of 10. I wasn't basing it purely on songs that I like, but I have to factor in the fact that Beneficence is a great MC and he does not slouch at all. But if I'm being honest with myself, a lot of this musically didn't do it for me. And
sure.
It didn't elicit a lot of replay value because of that. And then the songs that I did like, there was like a couple of them that were like the standout songs where it's like, yeah, I really like those particular songs. My top 5, Wranglers and A6.
Yep.
Smooth Hardcore.
Solid.
When the Sun Comes. We got that. And
absolute banger.
Yep. And Masters of the Class.
Cool.
Yeah. So
wow. All right then. So what is my album?
Your album, and I'm really embarrassed to say this because I completely forgot that we're at the end of
we're at the end of our run.
Yeah, because my list that I had in mind that I could quickly refer to has now eluded me. I realised they've all been...
You're not a pro flipping
not.
podcaster. Look, what's going on with this? You see what I have to put up with, people?
They've all been ticked off. But I'm going to show you how fucking sick I am because I'm going to pick one. And what that album is going to be is... You know what? Yeah, let's talk about it. Have you heard Devlin's new album?
Oh, flipping out. I haven't listened to Devlin in a minute.
Perfect. Devlin's new album, which is called... It's still quite fresh because it only came out this year. Eyes for the Blind.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, only came out this year, probably last month. Yeah, last month, I think.
Oh, mate. Yeah, all right, cool.
11th of February.
Oh, my wife's birthday.
Oh, man, yeah. Okay, perfect.
Man, there's a lot of cosmic dissonance going on right here. Right, okay, cool.
Eyes for the Blind by Devlin. That's your album.
Devlin.
Yes.
Oh, boy. He has been around since time began.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's what it feels like. But for good reason.
Oh my.
For good reason.
Yeah, he's not crap. That's for sure.
No,
but
not
all right, cool. Oh, we're getting into the UK scene.
Yes.
About time, actually. Like we haven't done enough. I think the last one was. Ooh.
Probably Gets.
Loki. Oh, Gets. There you go.
Or maybe Gets. No, Loki. It might have been Loki actually. It might have been Loki.
Might be. Loki or Gets, one of the two. Because yeah, man.
Loki. It was Loki. Gets was earlier on in the program.
There we go.
Devlin. Yeah. What was the last Devlin album you heard or project
Oh,
song or whatever?
I don't know.
Did you listen to Blood, Sweat and Beers? The first album,
mate. Yeah.
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 Against the brick wall.
Back in the day, but I haven't listened. He's just one of those, like, when on the UK scene, I only really paid attention to, like, Kano and I guess Dizzy.
Yeah.
For a while after,
Sure.
and then I just sort of fell away, really.
Sure, yeah.
But then there was a bit of a resurgence with, like, Little Sims, and oh, for goodness, and Dave as well.
Yeah.
Only because it's my namesake, so you know what I mean.
Oh yeah. Okay, cool.
And also because I saw him in Top Boy, and I thought,
oh yeah,
I really like his acting.
Top Boy season. There's another season coming out this month.
Yeah,
right?
I know.
Yeah.
Sully looks like he's gonna get murked.
Oh, I don't want Sully to get murked.
You know, he could take it though.
Sully
Good
is
old Kane.
Yeah, Sully is Kano's character.
Sully is Gully. Gully
Sully and
sides.
Deshane. That's it. Yeah. I was trying to think of
Such a crap name though. I hate that name.
What, Deshane?
Deshane. Yeah. I do not like that name. Deshane. Like, come on.
Yeah.
You could do better than that. Call him Shane.
Shane. Yeah.
Just Shane.
Deshane.
How many black men do you know called Shane? But anyway.
Fair.
What's that got to do with anything?
Yeah.
Anyway, rambling. We're on the ramblings out here.
Yeah,
cool.
That's because you're meant to be doing the outro, bruv, and throwing me off my game.
Yeah, no, to be honest, I could cut a hell of a lot of this crap down, to be fair. So, the power of editing. Anyway. No, me, I'll just leave it all in.
Yeah.
It'll all just stay in because I'm lazy. Even at the start when you were interrupted in productions, I love stuff like that. I think it's so funny.
So
anyway, exactly. You know what I mean? What we have to put up with, wives out here who just. Anyway, we love them, kind of. Ladies and gentlemen, listeners, old and new, thank you so much for being with us for another episode. We really, really appreciate you. As we mentioned in the middle and also at the start of the episode, you know what I mean, your support is really, really appreciated, and we, can't wait to do this again. Please be on the lookout. We are going to launch Patreon and all of that. We're just getting a few of the little bits sorted out, and once we do, we will then sort of change like how we deliver a bit of the information and that. But we can't wait to have you on our Discord server. Anyway, there will be a small opportunity for you guys to join us for free. Check this out. And then y'all got to pay, but it'll only be £1. But anyway, thank you so much, and we will see you next time. Hope everybody in your world is good.
Yep.
Peace. And I think we nailed that one, bro. Yeah.
Quick. 1 second. We'll cut this bit out. I told her we're recording. Literally told her.
I don't know, man.
And now it's not. Now it's not picking up.
I might keep this in. I love stuff like that. It's funny.
I know you do, but okay. Well, I tried. So anyways, I should put that on Do Not Disturb. But if she's calling, it usually feels like it's. Anyways.